Hey everyone, welcome back. Tonight we're diving into something that sounds amusing but gets dark pretty quickly. We're talking about what people actually did for fun in medieval times. Not the romanticized version, the real, often disturbing entertainments that drew crowds and made people cheer. So before we get started, let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is for you. Are you settling in for the evening? Already tucked into bed? Perfect. Go ahead and dim those lights if you haven't already. Maybe turn on that fan for some soft white noise. Get comfortable, because we're about to spend a day experiencing medieval entertainment, and I promise you, it's stranger and more unsettling than you'd think. Let's begin. The first thing that catches your attention is the smell. You're walking through the town square on a bright Saturday morning, and the air is thick with the scent of too many unwashed bodies packed together, mixed with roasting meat from vendor stalls, horse manure, and something else, something animal and wrong. The crowd ahead is dense, pressing toward the center of the square. You can hear shouting, cheering, a sound you can't quite identify yet. You push through the crowd. Everyone's moving the same direction, flowing like water toward whatever's happening in the middle. A woman elbows past you, nearly knocking you over. She's grinning. Her children are clinging to her skirts, trying to see. An old man stands on a crate, craning his neck. The energy is electric, festive. Everyone's excited. You finally break through to the front of the crowd. There's a wooden ring in the center of the square, about 20 feet across, with posts at the corners and rope strung between them. Inside the ring, you see it. A bear. Massive. Brown fur matted and scarred. A chain around its neck attached to a post in the center. The chain is maybe 10 feet long. Enough for the bear to move. Not enough to escape. Around the bear, 6 dogs circle, mastiffs, big and muscular, and bred for this. Their handlers stand outside the ring, shouting encouragement. The bear is already bleeding from multiple wounds on its flanks and shoulders. It swipes at the nearest dog with a paw the size of your head. Misses. The dog darts in, latches onto the bear's leg. The bear roars. The crowd roars louder. This is bear baiting. This is entertainment. You watch because everyone's watching. The bear catches one of the dogs with its claws. You hear the yelp, see the dog fly through the air. It lands hard, doesn't get up. The crowd doesn't go quiet. They cheer louder. Someone near you is taking bets, coins changing hands. People wagering on whether the bear will kill 3 dogs or 4 before it goes down. The bear is bleeding heavily now. 6 wounds, 8, 10. It's slowing. The dogs sense it. They move in together, coordinated. The bear swings, but there's no power behind it anymore. A dog latches onto its throat, another onto its back leg. The bear tries to stand, can't. Falls to its knees. The crowd goes wild. You feel sick, but you also can't look away. Everyone around you is laughing, pointing, shouting. Children are watching. This is normal. This is what people do on Saturday morning. This is fun. The bear dies slowly. Takes maybe 5 more minutes. When it finally stops moving, men enter the ring to drag the carcass away. The dogs that survived are bleeding but victorious. Their handlers parade them around the ring. People throw flowers, actual flowers, for dogs that just killed a chained bear. You step back from the crowd, your stomach is churning. But everyone else is already moving on to the next thing, the next spectacle. Someone's announcing a cockfight nearby. The crowd flows that direction, like nothing happened. Like, this is just the opening act. You follow because you're curious. Because everyone else is going. Because this is what people do. The cockfight is in a tavern courtyard. Smaller crowd. more intimate. Two roosters in a pit, metal spurs attached to their legs. Sharp, designed to kill. The birds are released. They go at each other immediately. Instinct. The spurs flash. Feathers fly. One rooster gets a spur through the chest, keeps fighting. The crowd is pressed close, faces inches from the action. People are screaming, not in horror, in excitement. The fight lasts 3 minutes. One bird dead, the other dying. Everyone's discussing the next match. Coins changing hands again. You notice the man running the fights has a basket with 6 more roosters. This is going to continue all afternoon. You leave. Need air. Need space. But outside, there's something else drawing a crowd. A raised platform in the town square. Wooden. Freshly built. There's a man on it. No, you realize. 2 men. One is the executioner. The other is a thief. You heard about this. He was caught stealing bread from the baker. His punishment is to lose a hand. You think the crowd will be somber, respectful. It's not. People are excited. Vendors are selling food. Children are being lifted onto shoulders for a better view. This is another entertainment. Another spectacle. Another thing people gather to watch. The executioner raises an axe. The thief's hand is on a wooden block. You turn away before it happens. But you hear it, the axe, the scream, the cheer that follows. The crowd is cheering. They're enjoying this. You walk faster, away from the square, away from the crowds. Your friend Thomas finds you. He's grinning, asks if you saw the bear baiting, says it was incredible. Says there's going to be a tournament tomorrow at the castle grounds. Real knights, real jousting. People die at those sometimes. Isn't that exciting? You realize something. This is what people do for fun. This is entertainment. Violence, blood, death, suffering. And everyone loves it, craves it, talks about it, remembers it. The best entertainments are the ones where something dies or someone gets hurt. Thomas is still talking. Says there's a fool performing near the east gate. Says the fool lets people throw rotten vegetables at him for a penny. Says it's hilarious. The fool dances and dodges and sometimes falls in the mud. Best entertainment in town. You follow Thomas because what else is there to do? This is medieval fun. This is what passes for leisure. This is how people spend their free time and their extra coins. Watching things suffer, watching things die, laughing about it after. The fool is exactly what Thomas described. A man in patched clothing with bells on his hat. He's dancing, badly. People are throwing vegetables, rotten tomatoes, old cabbages. They're paying for the privilege. The fool is dodging some, taking others in the face. He falls, gets up, falls again. The crowd howls with laughter. A tomato hits him square in the mouth. He spits, makes an exaggerated face. The crowd loves it. Children are crying from laughing so hard. This is peak entertainment. A man being pelted with garbage, humiliated for coins, and everyone's having the time of their lives. You realize you're not having fun. Everyone else is, but you're not. You're disturbed, confused, trying to understand how this is what people want, how this is what brings joy. But you're the strange one. You're the one who doesn't get it. Everyone else understands perfectly. This is medieval entertainment. This is normal. This is fun. And tomorrow, there's the tournament. More violence, more blood, more chances for something to go wrong in exciting ways. The whole town will be there. You will too. Because what else is there? You wake early. The tournament starts at mid-morning, and if you want a decent spot, you need to get to the castle grounds before the crowds. Thomas is already banging on your door, shouting about hurrying up. The entire town is going. This is the event everyone's been talking about for weeks. The walk to the castle takes an hour. You're not alone. The road is packed with people heading the same direction. Whole families, groups of young men, even elderly folks who can barely walk are making the journey. Everyone wants to see knights fight. Everyone wants to see the spectacle. The tournament grounds are outside the castle walls, a long field with wooden stands built on both sides. The stands are filling fast. You and Thomas find spots near the middle, high enough to see, but not so high you'll miss the details. The important people, the nobles, they have a covered section with cushions and servants bringing wine. The rest of you are on wooden benches in the sun. The field is enormous. At each end, there's a wooden barrier painted with bright colours, red and gold, blue and silver. The knights will charge from opposite ends, lances pointed at each other. The goal is to knock your opponent off his horse. The reality, you've heard, is that people die, lances break, splinters pierce armour, horses fall and crush riders. It's dangerous. That's part of the appeal. The crowd is growing. Thousands of people. More than you've ever seen in one place. They're loud, excited. Vendors are moving through the stands selling meat pies, ale, strips of roasted pork. The smell of food mixes with the smell of horses and leather and sweat. It's overwhelming. A trumpet sounds. The crowd goes quiet, relatively quiet, still a buzz of anticipation. From one end of the field, a knight appears. He's massive, not just tall, built like a wall, covered head to toe in plate armour that catches the sun and throws light everywhere. His horse is huge, draped in cloth with his colours, red and gold. A squire walks beside him, carrying his lance. It's easily 12 feet long, wooden, with a metal point. From the other end, another knight emerges, this one in blue and silver, slightly smaller, but no less imposing. His horse is black. Beautiful. The two knights take positions at opposite ends of the field. Their squires hand up the lances. The knights couch them under their arms, points forward, another trumpet blast. The knights kick their horses, the horses charge. The ground shakes. You can feel it in the wooden stands beneath you. The horses are at full gallop. The knights are leaning forward. The lances are steady, aimed. They meet in the middle with a crash that echoes across the field. The blue knight's lance catches the red knight's square in the chest. The lance shatters. Splinters everywhere. The red knight rocks back, but stays in the saddle. His lance missed. Went wide. The crowd roars. That was a solid hit. Points for the blue knight. They circle back, get new lances, reset, charge again. This time, both lances connect. Both shatter. Both knights rock back. Neither falls. The crowd is on its feet. This is what they came for. The sound, the impact, the violence barely contained by rules and armour. Third pass. The red knight's lance hits low, catches the blue knight's saddle. The blue knight's lance hits high, right on the helmet. The red knight's head snaps back. He's leaning too far. He's falling. The crowd is screaming. He hits the ground hard, doesn't move. Squires rush onto the field. They're trying to remove the helmet. Other squires are holding the horse. The crowd is chanting. Some are worried. Most are exhilarated. This is exactly what they wanted. Someone might be badly hurt. That's the point. That's the entertainment. The helmet comes off. The red knight is unconscious. Maybe dead. You can't tell from here. They're carrying him off the field. The crowd is still cheering. The blue knight does a victory lap, raises his lance. People are throwing flowers, throwing scarves. Women are screaming. Men are pounding the stands with their feet. You realize your hands are shaking. That knight might be dead. His head hit the ground at full speed. Inside all that armor, and everyone's celebrating. This is entertainment. This is fun. The next pair of knights come out. The tournament continues. Match after match. Some end with both knights intact. Some end with injuries. One ends with a horse going down, crashing, rolling. The knight underneath screams. You can hear it across the field. The scream cuts off. The horse is pulled away. The knight isn't moving. They carry him off too. The crowd barely pauses. The next match starts immediately. By afternoon, you've watched a dozen matches. 3 knights have been carried off. 1 horse had to be killed right there on the field. Broke its leg. Couldn't be saved. The crowd barely noticed. They were already focused on the next match. Between jousting matches, there's a melee. This is different. 8 knights on horseback, all at once. On the field, the goal is to knock everyone else off their horse. Last one mounted wins. There are no rules, no turns, just chaos. The trumpet sounds. 8 horses charge into the center. Lances hit everywhere. 1 knight goes down immediately. Then another. The remaining 6 are circling, jabbing, trying to unhorse each other. It's impossible to follow. Too much happening at once. Horses wheeling, knights swinging. The crowd is losing its mind. A lance catches a knight under the arm where the armor doesn't quite cover. He screams, drops his lance. His horse bolts. He's trying to hold on but can't. Falls. His foot catches in the stirrup. The horse is dragging him across the field, bouncing. The crowd is standing, shouting. Some want the horse stopped. Some want to see what happens. A squire manages to grab the horse. The knight is limp, unconscious, bleeding. They cut him free, carry him off. 5 knights left. The melee continues. It ends with 2 knights left. They charge each other. Both lances hit. Both knights fall. Both horses run. It's a draw. The crowd boos. They wanted a clear winner. Wanted someone triumphant. Instead, there are just 2 more injured knights being carried off the field. The tournament continues into the evening. The final event is sword combat on foot. Knights in full armor with real swords. They're supposed to fight until one yields, but yielding is shameful. So they fight until someone can't continue, until someone's too injured to stand. You watch 2 knights batter each other with swords for 20 minutes. The swords barely penetrate the armor, but the force of the blows is devastating. One knight takes a hit to the helmet that dents the metal inward. He staggers, doesn't go down, keeps fighting. 5 more minutes. Another hit to the same spot. This time, he goes down. Doesn't get up. The crowd erupts. They're satisfied. They got what they came for. Violence, injury, the possibility of death wrapped in pageantry and rules. This is entertainment. This is what people pay to see, what they travel for hours to watch, what they talk about for months afterward. You leave with the crowd. Thomas is ecstatic, says it was the best tournament he's ever seen, says 3 knights died. No, 4, maybe 5. He's not sure, but it was incredible. So much action, so much excitement. Wasn't it great? You nod, because what else do you do? Everyone around you is happy, energized, already planning to come back next year, already remembering the best moments, the worst injuries, the closest calls. This is what people do for fun. This is entertainment. Men risking their lives, horses dying, injuries that will cripple, and thousands of people cheering, paying for the privilege, coming back for more. You walk home in the dark. Your ears are still ringing from the crowd noise. Your throat is sore from breathing dust all day. Your mind is trying to process what you saw, trying to understand how everyone else is so happy, so satisfied, so entertained. Tomorrow, Thomas says, there's a public execution. A woman accused of witchcraft. She's going to burn. Huge crowd expected. Should be quite a show. Want to go? You don't answer. But you probably will, because this is what there is. This is medieval entertainment. This is fun. You just wish it felt more like fun, and less like witnessing a series of small tragedies that everyone else finds hilarious. It's Sunday. Church is mandatory. But today is special. After the service, there's going to be a mystery play in the town square. The church sponsors these. Religious dramas acted out by guild members. They're supposed to teach biblical stories to people who can't read. They're also supposed to be entertaining. Those two goals don't always align. You sit through the morning service. Latin you don't understand. Standing and sitting and kneeling at the right times. The church is packed. Everyone's here. Not just because it's Sunday, but because of the play afterward. The priest knows this. He cuts the sermon short. No one complains. The crowd flows from the church to the square. A stage has been built, wooden, 2 levels, painted to look like heaven on top and hell below. Very literal. The heaven section is white and gold. The hell section is red and black, with a demon's mouth painted as the entrance. Inside the mouth, you can see stairs leading down to the lower stage. The play is the story of the Last Judgment. Souls being sorted into heaven and hell, angels and demons fighting over who gets whom. The crowd presses close. This is free entertainment, and everyone wants a good view. You end up near the front again. Thomas is beside you. He's seen these plays before. Says the hell scenes are the best part. Says they use real fire. Says sometimes actors get burned. That's when it gets really interesting. The play starts. An angel appears on the upper stage. White robes, fake wings. He's supposed to be announcing Judgment Day. He's shouting his lines because there's no other way to be heard over the crowd. The crowd is already restless. The angel is boring, too much talking, not enough action. Then the demons appear. They burst from the mouth of hell with horns and masks and costumes that are genuinely unsettling. They're supposed to be horrifying. They succeed. The crowd perks up. This is what they're here for. The demons start dragging actors dressed as sinners down into hell. The sinners are screaming, begging for mercy, fighting back. The demons are rough, really rough. You see one sinner get thrown down the stairs into the hell section. He lands hard. The crowd laughs. More demons, more sinners. The angels on the upper stage are trying to save some souls. There's a tug of war over one actor. Angels pulling one direction, demons pulling the other. The actor is screaming. The crowd is choosing sides, shouting advice. Cheering when the demons win and drag the soul down to hell. The hell section is getting crowded. Sinners are piled down there. The demons are tormenting them, poking them with pitchforks. These are real pitchforks, blunted but real. The actors playing sinners are writhing. Some are genuinely trying to avoid the pitchforks. The crowd loves it. This is entertainment. Watching people dressed as sinners getting poked with farm implements while pretending to be in hell. Then the fire starts. There's a brazier in the hell section. It's been smoking this whole time. Now it erupts in flames. Real flames. High flames. The demons are dancing around it. The sinners are pressed against the walls trying to avoid it. One actor's robe catches fire. Just the hem. He beats it out quickly. The crowd cheers. They wanted to see him burn. Just a little. Just enough to make it real. The play continues. More souls judged. More sent to hell. Hell is running out of room. Actors are stacked on top of each other down there. The demons keep adding more. The fire is getting bigger. Someone's feeding it. The heat must be incredible down there. You can feel it from here, 20 feet away. The actors playing sinners are genuinely uncomfortable now. sweating, trying to move away from the flames. But they're trapped by the script. They have to stay in hell until the play ends. One of the demons gets too close to the fire. His costume catches. The fur or fabric or whatever it is, it goes up fast. He's screaming. Really screaming. Not acting. He's on fire. Other actors rush to help him. They're beating the flames with their hands. With cloth. It takes maybe 10 seconds to get the fire out. The demon's costume is ruined. His hands are burned. You can see them from here. Red, blistered. The crowd is silent. For about 3 seconds. Then someone laughs. Then more laughter. Then everyone's laughing. The demon who was just on fire is being helped off stage. He's crying. In pain. The crowd thinks it's part of the show. They think he's acting. They're applauding. Throwing coins. This was the best part. Real fire. Real injury. Real entertainment. The play continues like nothing happened. Another demon steps in to replace the burned one. More souls get judged. More get sent to hell. The finale is supposed to be uplifting. The saved souls go to heaven. They kneel before God. Everyone sings. It's beautiful. It's boring. The crowd is already dispersing. The hell scenes were an hour ago. That was the peak. Everything since has been anticlimax. You stay until the end because you feel like you should. The actors take their bows. The ones from hell are covered in soot and sweat, exhausted. Some are limping. The one who got burned isn't there. The crowd barely applauds. They're already talking about the fire, about how real it looked, about how they thought the guy might actually die. Wouldn't that have been something? Thomas is thrilled, says it was better than last year. Last year nobody caught fire. This year was so much more exciting, says the church should do these plays more often. Says maybe next time someone will actually die. That would be incredible. Can you imagine? You can imagine. You don't want to. But you can, because that's what people want. That's what makes entertainment worth watching. The possibility of something going wrong, of someone getting hurt, of tragedy dressed up as spectacle. The crowd is moving on. There's always something else. Always another entertainment. You hear someone mention a festival tonight. The Feast of Fools. It's once a year. Everyone gets drunk and mocks the church and elects a fake bishop and everything's upside down for one night. People dress in each other's clothes. Men dress as women. Women dress as men. Servants mock masters. It's chaos. It's hilarious. Everyone will be there. You're exhausted. You've been watching spectacles for days. But everyone's going to the festival. You'll go too. Because this is what there is. This is entertainment. This is how people spend their time. This is fun. You just wish it felt more like fun, and less like witnessing a series of small tragedies that everyone else finds hilarious. Night falls, and the town transforms. The Feast of Fools is one night a year when all the normal rules dissolve. You can mock the church, mock the nobles, mock anyone. Everything's permitted. It's supposed to release tension, let people blow off steam. What it actually does is create organized chaos. You meet Thomas at the tavern. It's already packed. Everyone's drinking. Everyone's loud. People are wearing costumes. A man dressed as a bishop walks by, his robes on backward, his mitre upside down. He's blessing people with a dead fish. People are laughing, falling over. Someone's dressed as the devil with horns and a tail. Someone else is dressed as a pregnant nun. The jokes are crude. The laughter is cruder. You get a drink. Ale, warm and sour. You drink it anyway because everyone else is drinking. The tavern is too hot, too crowded, too loud, but nobody's leaving. This is where things are happening. This is the party. Outside, the street is full of people. A parade is starting. Not an organized parade, more like a mob that's decided to move together. At the front, someone's being carried on people's shoulders. He's wearing a crown made of vegetables, turnips and carrots stuck together with string. This is the Lord of Misrule. He's been elected for the night. His job is to lead the chaos, to declare what happens next. The Lord of Misrule is shouting, declaring that everyone must dance. The crowd obeys. People are dancing in the street. No music, just dancing. Badly, drunkenly. You're swept up in it. Bodies pressed close. Someone steps on your foot. Someone else elbows you in the ribs. Everyone's laughing. You're not sure why. Maybe because everything's absurd. Maybe because the ale is strong. Maybe because this is the one night a year when nothing makes sense, and that's the point. The Lord of Misrule declares that everyone must kiss the person next to them. People obey. You're kissed by a stranger. An old woman with no teeth. She laughs. You laugh. Thomas is kissing someone else. Everyone's kissing. It's ridiculous. It's uncomfortable. It's somehow hilarious. The parade moves through the town. People are banging pots and pans, making noise. Cats are scattering. Dogs are barking. Shutters are opening as people who stayed home peer out. Some join the parade. Some close their shutters quickly. Trying to sleep through this is impossible. The parade arrives at the church. This is the most sacrilegious part. Someone set up a fake altar in front of the church doors. The man dressed as a bishop climbs onto it. He's going to perform a fake mass, in Latin, badly. He's saying the words backward. He's blessing the crowd with ale instead of wine. He's using bread from the bakery instead of communion wafers. The crowd is howling with laughter. This is forbidden, completely forbidden. But for one night, it's allowed, encouraged even. The real priest is probably inside, pretending not to hear. The fake mass ends. Someone suggests a trial. Mock trials are part of the festival. They put random things on trial. Last year, they put a donkey on trial for eating someone's garden. The year before, they put a rooster on trial for waking people too early. Tonight, they're putting a barrel of wine on trial for being empty. The barrel is rolled into the center of the square. Someone's acting as judge, wearing a pot on his head as a wig. Someone else is the prosecutor, arguing that the barrel had one job, stay full, and it failed. The barrel is found guilty. The sentence is that everyone must avenge the wine by drinking more. The crowd cheers. More drinking, always more drinking. You're getting drunk. You didn't mean to. But there's no way to avoid it. Someone keeps handing you drinks. The ale keeps coming. Your head is fuzzy. The world is tilting. But everyone else is drunker. Thomas can barely stand. He's grinning. Says this is the best night of the year. Says you should do something crazy. Something you'd never normally do. Someone started a game. It's cruel, but everyone thinks it's hilarious. They're putting people in the stocks. Not as punishment, as entertainment. Volunteers are sitting in the stocks while people throw things at them. Rotten fruit, mud, garbage. The people in the stocks are laughing, drunk enough that it seems fun. Drunk enough that humiliation is just part of the game. Thomas volunteers. He's put in the stocks. You're supposed to throw things at him. Everyone is. You throw a rotten apple. Miss, throw another. Hit him in the shoulder. He laughs. Someone throws mud, gets him in the face. He spits, still laughing. This goes on for 5 minutes. Then someone else takes his turn. Then someone else. It's an endless rotation of people volunteering to be humiliated. The night gets later, weirder. Someone's organized a donkey race through the streets. At night, drunk people trying to ride donkeys. The donkeys aren't cooperating. People are falling off, getting kicked. One man is dragged 20 feet, before he lets go of the reins. The crowd is screaming with laughter. This is peak entertainment. Drunk people failing at simple tasks. The Lord of Misrule declares the donkey the winner. The donkey doesn't care. You end up in a different tavern. Or maybe the same tavern. You're not sure. Everything's blurring together. There's singing, terrible singing. Songs with crude lyrics about nobles and priests and bodily functions. Everyone knows the words. You learn them quickly. They're not hard. They're mostly just insults, set to simple tunes. Someone starts a fight. Two men arguing, about nothing, pushing, then punching. The crowd forms a circle around them, not to stop them, to watch, to cheer. This is more entertainment. The fight lasts maybe a minute. One man goes down, doesn't get up. The other man is declared the winner. He gets free drinks. The man on the floor is dragged outside. The tavern moves on. Another song starts. You realize you've lost Thomas. You're surrounded by strangers. Everyone's your friend tonight. Everyone's no one's friend tonight. You're all just bodies in a space, getting drunk, doing things you'll regret tomorrow. This is the Feast of Fools. This is what happens when rules disappear. Not freedom, just different chaos. You make it outside. Need air, need to clear your head. The street is full of people sleeping where they fell. Drunk, passed out, vomit in the gutters. The smell is overwhelming. You step over bodies, keep walking, trying to find your way home. The town looks different at night. Or maybe you're too drunk to recognize it. You see a woman being carried by 4 men. She's screaming, laughing. You can't tell which. This is another tradition, charivari. When someone does something, the community disapproves of remarrying too soon after a spouse dies. Marrying someone inappropriate, the community mocks them, publicly, loudly. They're carried through the streets while people bang pots and sing insulting songs. It's humiliation as sport, as entertainment, as social control dressed up as fun. The woman is set down outside her house. The crowd surrounds her, singing, mocking. She's crying now, definitely crying. The crowd doesn't care. This is her punishment. For whatever she did, whatever rule she broke, the crowd gets bored after 10 minutes, moves on, looking for the next thing, the next person to mock, the next entertainment. You finally find your street, your door, your bed. You collapse. The room is spinning. Your head is pounding. You can still hear the noise outside, the shouting, the singing, the banging. The Feast of Fools continues until dawn, until everyone's too exhausted or too drunk to continue. You close your eyes, try to sleep, but your mind is racing, processing, trying to understand what you just experienced. Was it fun? Everyone said it was fun. Everyone was laughing, but it felt cruel, chaotic, dangerous. People got hurt, people were humiliated, and everyone called it entertainment. This is medieval fun. This is what people do when they're allowed to do anything. They mock, they fight, they drink until they can't stand, they humiliate each other, they laugh at suffering. They call it a festival. They call it tradition. They call it necessary, a release, a break from normal life. But it just feels like normal life amplified. The same cruelty, the same violence, the same disregard for others, just louder, drunker, more acceptable for one night. Tomorrow, everyone will go back to normal, back to rules, back to hierarchy, back to pretending they're civilized. But tonight showed the truth, showed what people are when the rules lift, showed what they want, what they find entertaining, what they find funny. You fall asleep to the sound of the town destroying itself slowly. For fun, You wake with a headache that feels like your skull is splitting open. The Feast of Fools is over. The town is quiet, recovering, but there's no rest for you. Thomas is at your door again. Says today there are games at the village green. Traditional games. Says everyone goes. Says it'll be fun. You're not sure you can handle more medieval fun, but you go anyway. The village green is a large open space just outside town. Usually it's for grazing sheep. Today it's set up for games, crude games, violent games. Games that make the Feast of Fools look tame. The first game you see is camp ball, sometimes called folk football. It's supposed to be like football, but there are no rules. Or rather, the only rule is to get the ball an inflated pig's bladder to the other end of the field. How you do that doesn't matter. Hundreds of men are playing, all ages, from boys to old men. The field is maybe half a mile long. The game starts. The ball is thrown into the center. Immediately, it disappears under a mass of bodies. Men are punching, kicking, wrestling. The ball emerges on one side. Everyone chases. The mass of men moves like a living thing, crushing everything in its path. You see a man go down. He doesn't get up. People are running over him. Through him, he's screaming. No one stops. The game continues. The ball reaches a fence. The fence breaks. The game spills into a field beyond. The farmer who owns that field is shouting, running after the mob. They've destroyed his crops, trampled everything. The mob doesn't care. The game is more important. The ball is more important. The farmer gives up, goes back to assess the damage. This happens every year, every time there's a game. Property gets destroyed. People get injured. No one stops it. It's tradition. You follow at a distance, watching. The game lasts 3 hours. By the end, the ball has moved 2 miles from where it started. Dozens of men are injured, some seriously. One man's arm is clearly broken. He's cradling it, crying. His friends are laughing, telling him he did well. He should be proud. He lasted almost the whole game before getting hurt. That's an accomplishment. The winners are the team that got the ball to the designated endpoint. Their prize is a pig. An actual live pig. They parade it around. Everyone's cheering. People are covered in mud and sweat and some are bleeding. But they're happy, exhilarated. This was a good game. A successful game. Only one person maybe died. That's a good ratio. The next game is quintain. This is practice for knights. But commoners do it too. There's a wooden post with a crossbar that rotates. On one end of the crossbar is a target. On the other end is a heavy bag filled with sand. You ride a horse toward the target. Try to hit it with a lance. If you hit it wrong, the crossbar spins and the bag hits you. Hard. Knocks you off your horse. That's the entertainment. Watching people get knocked off horses by a rotating bag of sand. Thomas wants to try. You tell him not to. He doesn't listen. He borrows a horse. Gets a lance. Lines up. The crowd gathers. They love this game because everyone fails at first. Everyone gets hit by the bag. Everyone falls. That's the fun. Thomas charges. His lance hits the target. Off center. The crossbar spins fast. The bag comes around, catches Thomas in the back. He flies off the horse, lands hard. The crowd erupts in laughter. Thomas isn't moving. You run over. He's conscious, barely. The wind is knocked out of him. He's gasping, trying to breathe. The crowd is still laughing, thinking it's part of the show. You help Thomas up. He's embarrassed more than hurt. Says he'll try again. You tell him that's a terrible idea. He tries again anyway. This time he hits the target better. The bag still gets him, but not as hard. He stays on the horse. The crowd is disappointed. They wanted another spectacular fall. Thomas is satisfied. He survived. That's enough. More people try the quintain. Most fail. Most fall. The crowd loves every minute of it. You notice the horse is getting tired, skittish. It's been doing this for an hour. Being ridden by strangers, running at a wooden post repeatedly. The horse doesn't want to do this anymore. But no one cares. There are more people waiting for their turn. The next game is worse. It's called goose-pulling. You've heard of this. You hoped you wouldn't see it, but here it is. A goose has been tied upside down to a rope stretched between two posts. The rope is about 10 feet high. Riders on horses charge under the rope, try to grab the goose's neck and pull the head off while riding at full speed. The goose is alive, terrified, flapping, screaming that horrible goose scream. You watch 3 men try. All fail. The goose is still alive, traumatized. The 4th man succeeds. He grabs the neck, pulls. The head comes off. He's holding it, triumphant. The body is still hanging from the rope, still twitching. The crowd cheers. The man parades around with the goose head like it's a trophy. This is entertainment. This is a game. This is what people do for fun. You feel sick, again, still, always. Every medieval entertainment makes you sick. But everyone else is fine, happy, excited for the next thing. The next thing is wrestling. Not organized wrestling, just men fighting each other in the mud. For prizes, for pride, for entertainment. The matches are brutal. No rules about hitting, about biting, about anything. You watch 2 men grapple for 20 minutes. One gets his thumb in the other's eye. The man screams, taps out. The winner is declared. His prize is a goat. He doesn't seem happy about a goat, but it's what he won. More matches, more injuries. Someone's ear gets torn. Someone's nose breaks. The crowd loves the blood, loves the violence. You're numb to it now. This is just how it is. This is medieval entertainment. Violence and animals and people getting hurt over and over in different combinations with different names, but always the same core. The day ends with archery. This is almost civilized. Almost. Until you realize the targets. They're not just circles painted on straw. Some of them are. But some are live birds, tied to posts. Archers are supposed to shoot the birds from a distance. The birds are small targets. Most arrows miss. But when they hit, the crowd cheers. The bird is collected, dead or dying. Another bird is tied up. The game continues. You leave. Can't watch anymore. Thomas stays. He's having a great time. Wants to try the archery. Wants to shoot at a live bird. Thinks it'll be challenging. Thinks it'll be fun. You walk away. Head back to town. Your head is still pounding. Your stomach is still churning. You've spent days watching medieval entertainment. You're exhausted, disturbed, confused about how everyone else finds this enjoyable. But they do. Thousands of people came to the village green today. Thousands watched the games, cheered, laughed, participated. This is what they want, what they enjoy, what they'll remember fondly, what they'll tell their children about. The time they watched Camp Ball destroy a field. The time someone got their head knocked off by a quintain bag. The time a goose was pulled apart. Good times, good memories, good fun. You get back to your room, sit on your bed, stare at the wall, try to process, try to understand, can't. This is medieval life. This is entertainment. This is fun. And you're the strange one for not enjoying it. You're the odd one for being disturbed. Everyone else is normal. Everyone else is happy. You're the problem. Tomorrow, Thomas says, there's a bear baiting again. Different bear, bigger dogs. Should be even better than last time. Want to go? You don't answer. You know you'll go, because what else is there? This is what people do. This is entertainment. This is medieval fun, and you're part of it, whether you enjoy it or not. Here's what they don't tell you about medieval entertainment, about the spectacles and games and festivals that filled the rare free time people had. They don't tell you that fun was built on suffering, that every entertainment involved something or someone getting hurt, that violence was the baseline, that blood was the point, that watching things die was considered the peak of an afternoon. They don't tell you that everyone was desensitized, that children grew up watching public executions, that bear baiting was a Saturday morning routine, that tournaments killed people regularly and no one thought twice about it, that cruelty was so normalized it wasn't even remarkable. You wake up today the same way you woke up all week, tired. Your body aches from walking to tournament grounds, from standing in crowds, from the one night of the Feast of Fools you can barely remember. Your mind aches from processing what you've seen, from trying to reconcile the suffering you witnessed with the joy everyone else felt, from understanding that you're living in a time where entertainment means blood. You think about the bear, chained, attacked, dying slowly while hundreds cheered. You think about the knight who fell from his horse and might have died. No one checked on him afterward. No one mentioned him again. He was just part of the show. You think about the goose, the fool covered in rotten vegetables, the man whose arm broke during camp ball, the countless small cruelties that everyone laughed at. You think about how this is normal, how this is what society has agreed is acceptable, how the church sponsors plays where people catch fire, how nobles organize tournaments where knights die for honor, how entire villages turn out to watch animals torn apart, how festivals celebrate chaos and humiliation and violence. And everyone calls it fun. Everyone calls it entertainment. Everyone calls it tradition. You understand something. This is what people do when life is hard, when work is brutal and endless, when disease and hunger are constant threats, when death is always close. They seek spectacle. They seek distraction. They seek something that makes them feel alive by watching something else die or suffer or fail. It's not kind. It's not gentle. It's not what you'd design if you were creating entertainment from scratch. But it's what emerges. It's what people want, what they need, what fills the void. You stand, get dressed. Thomas will be here soon. There's another entertainment today. There's always another entertainment. The cycle never ends. The spectacles continue. The crowds gather. The suffering happens. The laughter rises. Day after day, week after week, year after year. This is medieval life. This is how people live. This is what they do with their precious free time and their hard-earned coins. You think about refusing, about staying home, about not participating. But what would that accomplish? The entertainments would continue without you. The bears would still be baited. The tournaments would still be held. The games would still maim. The festivals would still descend into chaos. Your presence or absence changes nothing. The machine keeps running, fed by collective desire for spectacle, for violence, for the thrill of watching something go horribly wrong. You think about the future, centuries from now. What will people think of this time? Will they understand? Will they judge? Or will they recognize themselves in it? Will they see the same impulses in their own entertainments, just dressed differently? Will they realize that humans have always sought spectacle, always found entertainment in extremes, always been drawn to the edge where things could go catastrophic? You think about the stories that will be told, the romanticized versions, knights in shining armor, gallant tournaments, colorful festivals, merry medieval times, all the suffering edited out, all the cruelty forgotten, all the blood washed away, leaving only the costumes and the pageantry and the idea of simpler times. better times. Times when entertainment was wholesome and communal and pure. But you were there. You saw it. You know the truth. Entertainment wasn't wholesome. It was brutal. It wasn't pure. It was violent. It wasn't better. It was just different. Different justifications, different packaging, same core desires, same willingness to watch suffering if it's entertaining, same crowds cheering for blood. Thomas is knocking. Time to go. Time for today's entertainment. Whatever it is, you'll watch, you'll participate, you'll be part of the crowd because that's what you do. That's what everyone does. This is medieval life. This is fun. This is normal. You open the door. Thomas is grinning. Says, today's going to be great. Says, there's a special event. Something rare. Something everyone's talking about. You don't ask what. You'll find out soon enough. You always do. You follow Thomas into the street. The town is alive. People are moving toward the square, toward whatever's happening, toward the next spectacle, the next entertainment, the next thing that will disturb you and delight everyone else. And you realize something final, something true. Entertainment reflects who we are, what we value, what we're willing to accept. Medieval entertainment was violent because medieval life was violent. It was cruel because survival was cruel. It was desensitized because everyone had to be desensitized just to function. The entertainments didn't create the culture. They reflected it, amplified it, gave it permission, made it communal, made it acceptable, made it fun. They don't tell you that humans haven't changed that much, that the same impulses that filled medieval stands fill modern ones, that we still watch for the crashes, for the knockouts, for the moments when things go wrong in spectacular ways. We've just repackaged it, made it more acceptable, given it rules and regulations and safety measures. But the core desire remains. We want spectacle. We want drama. We want to see someone pushed to their limits and beyond. We tell ourselves we're better now, more civilized, more humane, more evolved. And maybe we are a little in some ways. We have rules, we have ethics, we have standards. We've moved the violence further from sight, made it more controlled, more sanitized, more acceptable. But the impulse remains, the desire for spectacle, for drama, for watching others struggle or fail or hurt. We've just gotten better at pretending we're not doing it, better at justifying it, better at packaging it as something other than what it is. You reach the square. The crowd is massive. Whatever's happening is big, important, memorable. You can already hear the noise, the anticipation, the energy. Everyone's ready. Everyone's excited. Everyone's here for the show. Medieval people were honest about it. They knew they were watching suffering. They knew it was cruel. They didn't pretend otherwise. They just accepted it, embraced it, called it entertainment and moved on. Maybe that's worse. Or maybe it's more honest. Maybe we're the ones lying to ourselves about what entertainment is and what it means and why we seek it. This is medieval entertainment. This is fun. This is what people do. This is who we are, who we were, who will always be underneath the progress and the civilization and the rules we create to pretend we're something else. The spectacle is about to begin. The crowd presses close. You're part of it. You've always been part of it. You always will be. Welcome to medieval fun. Welcome to what we choose to watch when we have the choice. Welcome to the truth about entertainment and humanity, and the things we do to feel alive. You're learning to call it normal. Everyone else already has.